Hi friends, welcome to WebChamp. Here in this video, I'm going to discuss constraints in SQL. Okay, so basically, constraint is nothing but rules for column values. So you can define your rules, not your rules, okay, but you can define few rules that are already defined as a constraint in SQL for the column value, so that you will have, or the proper data should get inserted into the table. Okay, so let's see how we can use this, how we can use the constraints while creating a table. You are, and what are the different types of constraints in SQL? So I will say there is a constraint called not null. Suppose if you don't want to insert a null value, okay, in that case you are supposed to define not null constraint on that column, so that that column will not accept the record. Okay, database will not accept the record if someone try to insert null value into that specific column. Okay, if you want unique values on column, on any specific column, that column should not accept the duplicate values, you can use unique constraint. If you want to check the value, okay, check the value whether value is in range or date is in range, then check constraint is helpful. Sometime someone may try to insert the null value. In that case, if you don't want, put that column, okay, as a null. Okay, you can define default value for that. If no value is inserted, it will database will insert automatically default value into that column. Okay, then something called index is there. While reading the data, while fetching the data from database, index are going to help us. Let's see how we can create index on any of the table. Okay, to speed up the data fetch operation or get data operation, index is useful. After that, we have a constraint called primary key, and after that we have a constraint called foreign key. Okay, I will discuss each and every constraint in detail in this video. Okay, stick to the webcam. Do not forget to subscribe the webcam for more videos, more interesting videos to learn the technologies. And last, I will say auto increment. So these are the constraints in SQL. Okay, so when we can define this, so definitely we can define these constraints while creating a table, or we can add the constraint later on by using alter statement. Anything is possible. I will show you how we can define the constraints first while creating a table. Then I will discuss how we can add the constraint later on if no constraint is added while creating the table. First, I will delete all these databases. All these. So I have deleted all the unnecessary table. Now I will go to create a table. I will set create table. Okay, I would like to create a table, and table name called, okay, student details. I can say yes, like this. I can create a table. Student details is my table's name. Okay, and first I'm going to show you how we can use not null constraint, or what is the use of not null constraint, what it will do if we define on any column. I will say roll number is my first column, which is of type data type called integer. Then I will say name, which is of type varchar of 100. Then next I will say email. Okay, these three columns I will prefer only, and email is also type of text. So I will use varchar 100 here. This is how we can define the table. And we have seen that if I try to insert the record, duplicate record, it is going to accept. It is going to accept. Okay. I will execute this now. If I refresh on table, if I show you the table schema in DDL command, you can see that roll number int by default there is no value, so it says default, okay, only, and null. Instead of null, I would like to make it not null, okay, so that it will not. So since this is null, meaning it accepts the null value. If we do not insert any record into that table, okay, I will show you. Select star from student details. So nothing is there now, right? Nothing is there now. But if I try to insert, okay, insert into student details, and I will say values, okay. And if I don't want to insert any value in roll number, so I will insert only name. Okay, instead of this, I will use name directly and email. These two values I will use, and I will just say name is my small a, okay, and email is, again, it's type of varchar, so I'm using single quotation. Okay, so this is how I defined insert statement. Now you all are familiar with this insert, and right, if I try to fetch the details are there, and roll number has value null. Roll number has value null. So now what I will do, I will drop this table and I will add a constraint now. I will add a constraint now. Okay, and if I declare, when you are where to write the constraint, so you are supposed to write the constraint after you declare the data type of that column. I will say not null. This is my constraint. Okay, this is my constraint. Now if I try to execute, yes, it will get executed because it is just a definition to create a table. And if I go to the schema, okay, you can see that now roll number int not null, it shows. Earlier it was showing default and null. Default and null. Now it will not show default and null. It will say only no, not null. And if I try to fetch, if I try to insert this record, it will throw an error. It says field roll number doesn't have a default value. This is what the error when we get whenever we try to insert the record, insert the null value into not null column. Into not null column. Okay, so this is how. Now what I will do, I will add a roll number. This is what one rule, and I will say 101. Okay, so now if you see, the record got inserted. If I try to fetch the records, it says, okay, it will not throw error if it meets the value. And what is the minimum requirement for this column is, it will say, okay, what it will say, that the column should not have a null value. Okay, it was asking for the default value, right? Whenever we try to insert the record without roll number, so we can define or we can use another constraint called default. Okay, so this is how we were trying to insert the record earlier. So now if again I will try, yes, it is giving me the error that it says that a roll number doesn't have a default value. Let's go ahead and declare the default value. But now again, one more question, how you can add, either you can use alter table or you can drop the table and create the definition once again. How to define? Since it is a constraint, you can define many constraints separated by space and default, and I will enter the value as 100. Okay, okay, since this is the integer, I will say now I have defined a default value, and I would like to create the table. The moment I create the table, you can see that table got created. And if you go to the schema, you can say that not null and default 100 is there. Okay, So now if I try to insert this record, okay, if we insert this, it is fine. Okay, records will get inserted. Okay, since it is not null. But if I, even though if I try to insert the null value for roll number, and I have already declared the default value, if no value is inserted, it will use the default value and it will insert the record. Now you can see that roll number with 100 is inserted. Okay, this is my default roll number. This is how we can say that constraints works, column rules works. If constraints get fails, it will reject the record. It will not allow to insert the record. Okay, so we have seen in not null and default together. Okay, now next record I would like to discuss. Sorry, next constraint I would like to discuss is check constraint. Okay, check is used to check the value of that column. What is the value of that column? Okay, how to use check constraint? Let's see how we can use. Okay, so just to limit the values, I mean, it can put the value, or we can say it is used to put the limitation for column value, and it uses less than, greater than operators, we can say the conditional operators, to put the limit. How to put the limit? Okay, again I'm going to drop the database, sorry, drop the table, because I'm going to create the new table. So I will drop that. Okay, and now I will use constraint, check constraint. Okay, you can use this constraint with text type data, date type data, and we can say what, number type data, right? Number type data. You can use a range or something like this. Okay, so how to define the check constant? So check constant can be added at the end of all the column definitions, right? So I will go here, since my column definitions are defined like this. After defining the last column, I will give the comma. Okay, you are supposed to give the comma while adding the check constraint. You have to say check constraint, or you can give the name to the constraint by using constraint something, and then you can put the constraint. Okay, I will show you both how to add the constraint after the column definition, all the column definitions. So I will say check. Okay, and check what it should check. So it should check for roll number, underscore roll number. Okay, roll number, whatever the column name you have given, you are supposed to use the same name, and should be less than 150. I just simply said my roll number should not be greater than, means one class can have only 50 students, that is starting with 101. Okay, so if you wants to add another condition, you can add, okay, roll number. Since my default number is 100, I will use less than or equal to 100. Okay, so it should not sorry, it should not be less than, it should be greater than, right? Greater than or equal to 100, or it should be less than or equal to 150. This is how I have given the condition for column. Okay, this is how I have given the condition for column, roll number column. I have added a new constraint. Since it is already defined as not null, so it will not accept null value. If no value inserted, it will use default value, and it will also check for the, it is not necessary to put all the constraint on the same column. As per your requirement, you can put constraint on any column. Okay, and now if I go and show you, the constraint is applied. Okay, here you can see that create table student, roll number not null, default value, everything we already sent. So check constant is applied here like this condition. You can see that it is reflecting here. Okay, and database engine automatically adds constraint name. Okay, we can add manually also. You can write constraint here like this constraint. If you define the constraint name, test, database engine will not do anything for you. If you do not define, it will define. Okay, now we have a data, right? At the very first place, we are able to insert this record, right? If I insert and if I control Z, okay, if I would like to fetch the record, I would like to show you the records. I will say select star from this table. I will say and I will execute this. Okay, so there is only one record. There is only one record. Now what I will do, I will try to insert another record. Okay, again you can see that it will accept these values, no issues at all. And if I try to fetch the details, yes, it will show you. Okay, no value inserted, it is used default value. Now I will try to insert another record. Okay, on next line, but value is roll number value, I will use something greater than 150. Okay, and we have defined value should be lesser or greater than. So here you can lesser or equal to 150. So check constraint student, check constraint name is violated. It is giving an error. It says that there is a constraint called check constraint which is violated. Violated means the value is not as per the column rule. Value is not as per the column rule. That is what the use of constraint. That is what the use of constraint. Okay, you can add multiple conditions to the value, multiple conditions to the multiple columns to check constraint. You can define check constraint for multiple columns. Okay, this is what I defined. But if you want to put the constraint for another email address and all, you can define that also. So you can define length and all. So any number of constraints you can define as per your wishes. So hope you may got a clear picture about how the check constraints is going to work. Now there is a constraint called create index. Okay, there is a constraint called create index. Sorry, I mean in constraint name is index, but we use, or we can say that we can create an index on table. Okay, we can create an index on table. So why we need to create an index? Okay. So basically indexes are used to retrieve the data. Retrieve the data meaning fetch the data more quickly. And we cannot see indexes, but we can create index on table. It will definitely show you if you are trying to fetch millions of records. Index will definitely show you what we can say that the effect or performance effect. Okay, how it works. Okay, indexes are useful for searching the data while reading. Okay, but it is not good to update the data. Okay, so you are supposed to create index on any of the column, any of the table, but while reading the data, once you create this, you are supposed to drop this if you try wants to update or insert new record. Okay, so it is a problem for updating or inserting a record, but it is not a problem. It is good for reading a data. It is good for reading data. How to create index? Suppose I would like to create index, and on which table? No. You are supposed to give me the index name. So I will say create index test. Okay, and on next line you have to say it is not necessary to write on everything on next line, but you can write. It's not a problem. And I will say student details table name. You are supposed to pass. Student name details. You are supposed to pass on which column? On which column? So that it will search the data based on roll number. If you use roll number in where clause, if you try to filter the records be using where clause, okay, I mean using roll number in where clause, this index will definitely help you to fetch the records more quickly. Since I don't have much records on this, I will not show. But yes, you can see that if I refresh, this index got created. Maybe we can see constant, yes, but we cannot see, as I said, we cannot see index on our table. It is not going to reflect in DDL command. Okay, but it is getting created. It is getting created, and you can drop it by using its name called test. Okay. So remember, this indexes are used to speed up the searching operation on database. Okay. To speed up the searching operation on database. Okay. Then what are the constants I have discussed so far? Alter table not. Okay, so these are check I discussed, unique not null discussed, default discussed, index discussed. Now I would like to discuss auto increment. Okay, what is a auto increment? So again, it is a constant auto increment. Okay, it is a constraint. It will add value to a specific column. Okay, which will increase automatically. Means whenever we insert new record into that table, it will add next value. Okay, to that column. It will add next value to that column. Like we may have a serial numbers, right? 1 2 3 4 5, and in the auto increment always start with 1. Automatically it will increase value. Means the number of records we can see, or we can use this auto increment column as a primary key. Okay, what is primary key? I will discuss after this auto increment. Okay, so let me go to the table definition. I would like to draw this table, okay, first, so that I can create once again to use auto increment. And I will copy this. Okay, no matter how many constants you can use on that column, but I would like to say, okay, whenever you are supposed to use, whenever you wanted to use, okay, now I am not going to insert the roll number manually. Okay, it should come automatically. Okay, it should come not, but whenever you wanted to use add to increment, okay, to increment, that column should be to increment. That column should be already, I mean, it should be defined as a not null. It should be defined as a not null. Okay, everything is fine. And I will remove this constant because values are going to start from 1. Okay, values are going to start from 1. And now, okay, when something is incorrect table definition, there can be one auto column, and it must be defined as a key. Okay. Okay. So whatever the column we try to make it auto increment, that column can be, okay, definitely it can be, it should have a unique values, so we can define it as a key. Okay, tentatively remember this. Okay, I will declare this column as a primary. So let me say key, only key, if I can write as a roll number. Roll number. Okay, and if I try to execute, yes, you are supposed to declare that column as a key column. Okay, and now it is not necessary to declare that as a primary key. Okay, you can declare as a only key. If I go to the definition, you can see that key roll number is used. Yes, this is how we can use, or we can use auto increment. Now I don't need to insert roll number. I don't need to insert a roll number. Okay, what I can do, I can go here and I don't need to insert roll number because the roll number is getting created automatically by the database. I will insert this value. Okay, and now if I try to fetch the details, now if I try to fetch the details from student details, okay, let me copy this, paste this below so that we can see the output easily. Execute. Did I enter anything? No. Again, I will insert. Okay, I'm not going to change the values, but if you change the values, it will not matter. Okay. For next row, you will see the next value. Did I enter any value for the roll number? No. Roll number is getting created automatically, right? How many times? However, you execute this many times, every time it will increase the value of roll number by 1. Right. If you delete any record and if you try to insert that record, it will not pick the previous value. Definitely, it will pick the next value. So this is how it's going to work. Meaning, if I delete, Suppose if I go and if I delete this 11th number record, okay, and next time if I try to insert the value, it will not pick 11 as a next value roll number, it will pick 12 as a roll number. Okay, that is what the difference. Next value means it will use one value at once, even though that value is dropped out. Okay, now now we have a constraint called primary key. What is primary key? Okay, so basically primary key is a constraint, okay, which applies on the column when you want column values to be not null, and unique. Okay, so it is like a combination of these two constraints, but the purpose of this primary key is different, that you will see. And we can use this primary key column into the next table, another table where we can add, okay, we can add what we can say, we can add reference of primary key to the foreign key. Okay, reference of primary key to the foreign key. Okay, foreign key to create the relationship between two tables. So these two keys are very important. It creates, both the keys are required to create the relationship between two tables, and the table which will have primary key is called parent table. Okay, and the table which will have foreign key constants, so which called child table. Okay, so this is what a parent and child relationship can be created in SQL. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so that we can say, I will first drop table, I will say drop table, and student underscore details. Instead of going above and deleting, I will select this. Okay, now I'm going to create the table, and I will define this table. Okay, I will use this table, create. Okay, okay, so you do not need to define not null or all, but it is fine if you kept no issues. I will say primary key. Okay, I mean, just I have defined a column roll number as a primary key. Okay, nothing will happen. It will not accept duplicate value. It will not allow user to enter the null value into this column. Okay, that is what already we declared, and we can create a table. Now, if I show you, table got created. You can see in the definition there is a primary key as a roll number. Okay. Okay. Right. So this is how primary key created. Now I am going to insert the record. Obviously, primary key will not be blank, because since we used auto increment, I am just going to insert the record. One record I have inserted. I will create another record called b@gmail.com. Okay, I will create 4 or 5 records. Then I will say, okay, it is not giving me error because we used auto increment. That is the reason we are not getting error for null values, even though we are not adding null values into the table. Okay. So now 4 records I have added. I will add one more. Right. And execute. Right. So if you fetch the records from this table, you can see that I have 5 records. But it has 1 to 5 roll numbers are there in my table. Now suppose I would like to create a relative table. Okay, relative table. And that table should have marks of each student. marks of each student for each subjects. Okay. Yes. So we can create that table here. I will say create. Okay. It is very easy to create table, and I will say student marks. Okay. This is what my table name. And what are the different columns? So I will say roll number. Obviously, roll number should be there to recognize who has what marks. Next column is my subject. Okay. Subject. Since it is a keyword, I use the backticks to define as a text. Okay. Then subject and marks. This is how I have a column. Marks are always in integer. And then subjects are always in varchar text type data, and roll number. Roll number again, it's in integer. Okay, it is fine if we try to insert. So I would like to have the table, but I would like to give the reference of this table. Meaning what? Meaning what? Why I needs to give the reference? Why I needs to give the reference? Okay, if someone goes and try to insert the record into this table for roll number 6, which is not exist in my student details, right? If the student is not exist, right? If the student is not exist, how we can create the record, or how we can insert the record into the table called marks? How we can enter the marks for that student? To prevent this, okay, to prevent this kind of situation, what we can do, we can create a relationship between these two tables, so that every time roll number will get validated with student table. Whenever we try to insert the new record into the student marks table, okay, into this table, what it will do, foreign key constraint will check whether the roll number is exist into student table or not. Student table or not. That is what the relationship between primary key and foreign key. So I will define here foreign key. Okay, foreign key. And what is my column name? So roll number is my column name. Okay. Okay. And I will say references. References, which column it is going to refer as a primary key you are supposed to give. So you, in that case, what you need to do, you need to use the student detail as a table name, and out of, I mean, from that table, not out of, okay, what column you are supposed to use. And that column must be declared as a primary key. Okay, there in my student detail table. Otherwise, it is not going to work. And now I'm going to create a table. Table got created. In the schemas, I can show you foreign key. Oh, what I'm going to student detail I'm going to view. Okay, student marks I supposed to view. Okay, so here you can see that constant called foreign key. Okay, constant name is automatically added, but we can add this name, create this name by our own. But we typed this, right? We typed this. So now what? Let's see the magic. Okay, let's see the magic. Insert into, I will say insert into. I have not defined anything for any rule for this, but I simply declared foreign key. Okay, that it's like a data validation in Excel, right? We can define the limited number of values for any column. It is which is very similar to that. Okay, if you are master in Excel, you can understand what I'm trying to say. Insert into, what is table? So this student marks is my table. Student is marks is my table. Okay, and what are the values I supposed to insert? Sorry, this should be not values, it should be values. Okay, it should accept the roll number 1. I will say yes, roll number 1 is there. Then subject, I will say Marathi. Okay, it is fine since I'm from Maratha, I love Marathi. Okay, and subject marks, I will say 90. Okay, if I try to insert this record, nothing happened. Yes, records got inserted. Now you can see that select star. Star meaning all. From stood Mars. Stood Mars. Stood Mars. Right. Yes. Again, what I will do, I will try to insert another record for next student. But I will use student as a 6. Roll number as a 6. you can we know that there is no roll number exists for 6. And if I try to fetch the insert the record, you can see the message. The record is got rejected by the database. Why? It says cannot add or update a child row. A foreign key constraint fails. Right. So now you may have a clear picture in your mind that what is the use of foreign key. So foreign key will restrict the value to be get inserted into that table if that value is not existing in its reference column. That is what a primary key from another table. Primary key from another table. And this is what a relationship between two tables. This is what the relationship between two tables. Okay, if I change this to 2, it is fine. Okay, it will accept the record. It will accept, definitely it will accept the record. And now if I go and show you, yes, this works. But if I execute this one more times, nothing will get inserted, right? It will definitely throw an error. It will definitely throw an error. If you try to insert the 5, yes, it will accept. Okay, it will accept the marks records because these roll numbers are exist there in its parent table. If the roll number is not exist in parent table, meaning foreign key, what foreign key do? Foreign key compare the values from its parent table. If that value is exist, it will allow users to insert that value, insert the entire record into that table. This is what the use of foreign key and primary key. Okay, but you are supposed to make sure that primary key column should not have duplicate values. It is not going to accept duplicate values. It is not going to accept duplicate values, right? So this is what about foreign key and primary key. Auto increment I have discussed. Now let me go back and let's see. Not null discussed, unique discussed, check, default, index, primary key, foreign key, auto increment, everything. All the constants from the SQL I have discussed. This was the agenda for this video. Thank you so much for watching the video. Have a nice day.